Hello, I'm doing a book talk today on From Ideas to Words Writing Strategies for English Language Learners by Tasha, Tropp, Laman. In this book, Laman provides many strategies for helping multilingual students develop writing skills, even when they're just starting to learn English. She began her career as a teacher working on a Navajo reservation with multilingual children and found it pretty hard at first, but she learned some great strategies for working with multilingual students. She now is a professor at the University of South Carolina. Some of the central ideas of this book are the asset-based view of seeing multilingual students as possibilities instead of problems, and really encouraging students to build their identities as writers, and not think of writing so much as a task, but as a thing that they are. She really recommends using authentic writing tasks and avoiding worksheets and getting to know students, and also not doing too much correction and embracing approximation. So if the students are trying, you are doing some correction, but overall allowing them to grow. So the style that she recommends, the key curricular structure in classrooms that she recommends is called writing workshop. Tompkins, in our textbook, also discusses the benefits of using writing workshops in Chapter 10. So what are the benefits of writing workshop? It has a consistent structure and routine, which is very helpful for multilingual students, and it contains authentic, meaningful writing experiences. Also, it's got opportunities for whole group, small group, and individual instruction. It's a strength-based approach, and it really helps students develop agency. So the writing workshop the structure is that it starts off with a brief mini lesson of 5 to 10 minutes. There's 20 to 45 minutes of independent writing time, and then it ends with 5 to 10 minutes of sharing. So Laman has separate chapters on each section that are excellent. In her chapter on mini lessons, she provides 2 full mini lessons as examples, which are very helpful. And some of her key points about mini lessons is that there should only be one teaching point per lesson. So you want to stay very focused. You want to, describe the idea, demonstrate using it yourself, and then have students try out the idea. And for multilingual students, and probably for all students, you really want to reinforce the idea with images, with repetition, and checks for understanding. Then you go into independent writing time. She really feels that this is important, that this is a regular activity in the class, something that's done quite frequently, because in order to get better at writing, you have to spend a lot of time writing. She doesn't use the word translanguaging, but she definitely is encouraging translanguaging, especially for developing multilingual students. She recommends that you allow conversations between students, and maybe have some soft music playing, sort of explore, and have students be able to sit in different places and be able to access computers and bilingual dictionaries to look things up, maybe reference books, that they don't have to be just sitting at their desks during independent writing time. Tompkins also talks about writing workshops and how they really can be a very useful tool, but that you do have to sort of help students develop the skills to use the time wisely by sort of building out the structure. She also has Laman also has a separate chapter about having writing conferences with your individual students that I found excellent in terms of how you would communicate with students who might be just emerging multilingual students. That's always seemed kind of tricky to me, but she has good tips for for helping students build their language school skills and how to communicate even when you don't share that much language. So for the last part of the writer workshop, it's sharing time. So that's 5 to 10 minutes of sharing, and it tends not to be students sharing whole pieces. But you sort of talk about a strategy you use, you have students share a favorite line, different things like that. And it helps writers understand that we write for an audience and that they're a part of a community of writers. And in a class that has both monolingual and multilingual students, you might find that multilingual students aren't doing as much sharing. But you want to encourage them to share by modeling sharing, by having a very short thing that's shared, and by giving them opportunities to rehearse in smaller groups. Also, there's a section on planning celebrations for the ends of projects that has some lovely ideas for helping students really see how special their writing is. She talks about examining your classroom to see if it has a certain set of values, and looking at what messages you're sending to students. The idea that writers read, so you have books available, writers publish, that's like the celebration, or sort of putting works up on the board, and that writers revise, and having a lot of classroom talk, the idea that writers are interested in people and the world. And one I particularly liked is all languages have value and not all writing is in English. So to sum up, I found this to be a very strong book. It has a clear and direct writing style. It's easy to read. It's got a very positive asset-based approach, and you can tell how much Laman loves teaching and loves her students. It's got a lot of explicit examples of student writing, conversations, and feedback you can give that I found helpful as studying to be an ESL teacher. And I also really liked how her approach could help students learn to love writing and build self-efficacy and intrinsic motivation, which in many ways may be more important for students than the individual writing skills. So overall, I recommend this book to anyone interested in teaching writing to multilingual students. Thank you for listening.